Hello, all, and welcome to another edition of Turning Readers into Writers. And I am your host, Emma Desi. And in this podcast, it is my goal to give you simple ideas, strategies, and tools, ways of thinking that you can bring into your writing life that are going to help you either get started, finish that first novel, or if you are in revisions, keep working towards getting that book finished and out into the world. Because that's the driver for the majority of us, is we want to get our books into the world and find readers and people who will enjoy our stories as much as we have enjoyed the stories of others. So it's my intention here to give you as much sort of, not just about writing itself, but actually about the writing life, because that is just as important, if not more important, than the writing itself, believe it or not. But it's the attitude that you bring to it, the outlook that you come to the table with, and the way that you approach your writing life is what will guarantee you success and longevity. Because if you come to it with a positive attitude and exploring this and having fun with it, you're far less likely to have burnout, and you are far less likely to get fed up with it all and jack it all in and move on to something new and then kick yourself for giving up on it. So I really want you to see writing as being part of your life as a whole, not just a sideline on it. You know, it's not just one compact corner of your life, but it's a part of your life as a whole. And what I want to talk today about is the idea of writing being a second career for you. This is very, very doable. For lots of people, it's how the majority of people get started, and in fact it's how the majority of traditionally published writers live. You know, they have a job that pays their bills, usually in teaching, editing, some kind of author service involved in the world of publishing, and then in their spare time they do their writing. They write their own novels, because as we know, unless you're one of the very big names, you know, traditional publishing doesn't pay very well, and so you do get the kudos of being with a certain press or publisher, and you get to see your book in Waterstones or Barnes and Noble, but the take home at the end of the day is very small. And so many of these writers are, like you will be doing now as you get started, doing a day job, raising a family, looking after loved ones as they write their book. So it's absolutely doable as a second career, a second job. But I want to look at a few things around this and how you can incorporate it into your life. We'll look at how you can incorporate it and have it as an additional job to the one you've already got, how you can do it in retirement, and you know how this can be a really great way addition to being a stay-at-home mum or a full-time carer. It's such a super way. It's how I got started, and I really recommend it. But the question that I want you to ask yourself before you decide to delve down this, or if you have already started and you're finding it a bit trickier than you thought it would be, is to ask yourself, why do you want to do this? What is it about writing, the idea of having written a novel, or the idea of being a novelist? What is it about that that really intrigues you and excites you? And what would you like to happen with your writing? Is it to write a memoir, either your own life or the life of a family member, and you want to put that together and have it beautifully published and bound and given as a gift to your family? Or is it that you want to write for art's sake, and you know you want to produce a small amount of stories that are close to your heart and that you're incredibly proud of? Or do you want to have a deal with one of the big publishers? You know, do you want to write a book that is going to go in Waterstones or Barnes and Noble, and you know you want to be with Penguin Random House or Lake Union or one of the other big houses? Or do you know that you want to be an indie publisher, and actually you're going to do this because you want to earn an income? Yes, you enjoy writing, but you want to earn a supplementary income through your writing that possibly will overtake the income you have with your job, and you can swap one out for the other. And the ideal for you would be to be a full-time writer at some stage. but you know that you've got to start here, you've got to start at the beginning until you get to that point. But it's really important for you to know what it is that you want. And if you don't know what it is just yet, if you don't have a clear idea of what that big vision for your life is, don't fret about that. Don't worry too much, but do start thinking about it. Have a maybe a little vision board going where you put some ideas up about what would be nice for your writing life. What would it pay for example? So if it's going to be some extra income, maybe it's for your holidays. I remember talking to the author Anne Cleeves, who is the author of the TV series, the books that became the TV series Vera and the Wonderful Shetland. I was asking her about it, and she was saying, in the early days, she was what she would describe as a mid-list author, and she earned enough that would pay for their holidays each year. She was married, and I think she's got 3 kids who are all grown now, but at the time were young. And so this was a way for her to contribute to the family. Then, of course, then she got picked up by the producers of ITV, and off we go. Vera commences, and her life takes a big turn. But it wasn't always like that. She was very happy that way. She liked writing on the sidelines. She liked being able to have the freedom to write and be with her kids. So it gave her a lot of flexibility. So what do you want for your writing? What would you envisage, and where would you like to write? This is always a lovely question to ask yourself. Do you want to write at home at the kitchen table still? Do you want to have an office in your home that's a beautiful space just for you and your writing? Do you, like me, like writing outside of the home? And so you would want to go to a cafe or the library, or maybe have an office space that you've hired, and so you get to walk to that space or take the bus to that space and feel like you're going to work and have that professional feel about it. Would you buy a new house where you have a special office outside for you, and upgrade everything? What would it be like, and what would you spend your money on, and what would your day-to-day existence be like? If you were to be a full-time writer, what would your ideal day be? If you were writing part-time and you really take this up seriously and start this new second career, what would your ideal working day look like? Would it be working part-time, full-time, and then writing around that? Is it working during the week and then having your weekends devoted to your fiction? How would that look for you? What would you enjoy the most? And either write it down, or, as I suggest, have that vision board. And I do have an episode about vision boards and the power of vision boards, which I will link to. And put it up there so that you can see for yourself, because it will evolve over time as well. So keep those images up there, or write it down in a journal so that you can feel that you know what you're aiming towards and what the purpose of all this hard work will be, because it is hard work. There's no two ways about it. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun and it nourishes your soul, but it is hard work. Putting together a novel is a big, complex, intellectual project, and it needs to be seen as such, and it needs to be given that respect and treated with the respect that it needs. So let's look at the 3 ways that you can bring writing in as a second career. So maybe you are already working, you have a full-time job or you have a part-time job. You can still work around this. It's just a question of being smarter about how you use your time over the course of the 7 days of the week. So it might be that 2 days a week you head to the library or a cafe or somewhere that you can spend an hour working on your novel before you go home, so that you don't get pulled into the sort of day-to-day activity of family life. But before you get home, you settle down in the cafe, in the library, wherever you choose. Some people write in their cars, and you can even get steering wheel desks now to make it more comfortable and easier. So that is something that you could do. Or if you're an early riser, or are prepared to be an early riser, even if it doesn't come naturally to you, you can get up early in the morning. I was talking to Troy Lambert recently, who works for Plotter, the plotting software, and he was sharing with us about how when he first started writing, he had a young family, and the only time he got peace and quiet was to get up early and write between 4:30 and 7:30 in the morning. Not for the faint of hearted, that, but he was committed, and he wanted to do this around his work, around his paid job, with the view that he would one day be a full-time writer. Perhaps that neither of those appeal to you, but you do have space at the weekends, and you can take time on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning and either write at home, or you go out to an external space and you write there. It's absolutely possible, and you can do it. And one thing I want to say about this is, you might be feeling at the end of the day, do you know what, I am tired. I just want to go home. I want to kick my shoes off, put my feet up and sit in front of the TV. I do not want to go and sit somewhere and then have to re-engage my brain. So you're not alone in doing this. I'm feeling this way, I promise you. But what I suggest to you, and I think this is a great way, and it certainly works for me, is make sure that you leave the office building that you're in. Get outside, do a 10-minute walk, 5-minute walk, whatever it is, to get to the place that you're going to. Just being outside of the office, just being in the fresh air, moving your body, walking, not worrying about work, just an opportunity to shake off the day. It will reinvigorate you. It will re-energize you. And as you're walking to wherever it is that you're going to be going, thinking about the story, get yourself excited about your story again, about the characters that are involved there. Maybe the scene you're going to be working on, and so you're excited about that and I wonder what's going to happen in this scene, because of course you're not going to know exactly what happens until you've written it. So there's an excitement there. There's there's an adventure there to be had. So go outside, get the fresh air, shake off the day, and then by the time you get to your new place to do your writing, you'll be ready to go. You'll be feeling so much more energized. So it's a great way to it's a great thing to add to your as a second career, because or an additional career, because it's so versatile and you can do it anywhere. You can write on the bus if you want to. I know that Mark Dawson, who's a thriller writer, that's what he used to do. He would write on the train as when he commuted into London each day. So that's one way. So maybe you don't have employment out of the home, but perhaps you're a stay-at-home mum, or you are a full-time carer for another family member, and so you are working full-time, no doubt about it, but it's just within the home. So again, this is about being smart with your time, and it's also, I remember it's about leveraging your time as well, because if your kids are young particularly and they're still at home, they're not yet at school, you don't have a lot of free time at all. And so really leveraging time with friends, asking them, can you take the kids for a couple of hours or even just an hour, which will give me an opportunity to go and do some writing. And I encourage you though, because I know what this is like, I do encourage you to write outside of the house. Go to the library if you need somewhere quiet. Get your noise cancellation headphones if you need absolute silence. Book a room in the library. They've often got private rooms, but give yourself that opportunity to really settle down and do the writing. Do not go home because if you go home, that's where all the unfinished jobs are. That's where all the chores are. That's where it's too easy to get sidetracked and distracted, and use that precious time that you've just negotiated for yourself is just going to be spent on washing, folding things away, tidying up toys, all the things that can wait and be done later. But your writing can't wait because you've grasped this time, you've leveraged this time. So make the most of it, don't squander it, and get that little bit of writing done. You can write a whole scene, you can do some thinking about your novel, you can jot down some ideas for characters, you can jot down some plot ideas. Use that time that you've got to its maximum, and you'll feel good afterwards. I promise you, you'll come away from that thinking, yes, I have achieved something towards my writing. I've achieved something towards this lifetime goal that I've had, something that makes me happy. So maximize that time. Similarly to adding on the second career to your paid employment. So the third one is to do this in retirement. So this is absolutely feasible, and what I've seen from the retirees that I know is that life is just as busy as it was when you were working. It's just busy in a different way now. It might be busy with grandchildren, for example. Now that you're retired, perhaps your children are asking you to do a little bit more looking after the grandkids, which is fine. I'm sure you love it, but it means that that is time taken up of your day. You've now got this wonderful opportunity as well to spend more time with friendship groups and go away on more holidays than you ever did whilst you were having your working life. So there's many ways in which you'll be busy, but it's key here as well to schedule your writing time. You've got the flexibility now. You don't need to get up at 4 a.m, and you don't need to burn the candle at midnight either. You have full 7 days with which you can dictate your calendar and when you want to write. So you can now take advantage of being able to write when you are at your most creative. For some of you, it'll be between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. For others, it will be between 10 and 12 in the morning. There's different times for different people. So maximize that. Take advantage of that newfound freedom that you've got. But I'd recommend that you do schedule it in. Because even though you're retired, even though you might feel like you've got your whole week ahead of you, that will pass quickly. Because unless you, and you know this from your working days, that unless you scheduled things in, it got taken up with ad hoc meetings, it got taken up with paperwork that didn't really need doing. And the same kind of thing will happen in your retirement, that the days will fill up with, oh, I'll just read this magazine article now, oh, I might have a little nap now, I think I'll go for a walk now. Which are all lovely things to do and not to be discouraged, but try and do them around your writing. If you're prioritizing your writing and you want this to be a second career for you, then prioritize it, block the time in. It doesn't need to be every day. It can just be 3 times a week. That is plenty. And then you'll find that maybe there are other little spots that you can fit in, smaller writing times that you can slot in around that. But schedule them in so they don't get taken up by other things that are not writing related and are not the priority that you want them to make. Now, in all 3 instances, whether it's an addition to your paid job, it's an addition to your at-home job, or it's a second job in retirement, all of these things you're going to have to give yourself some breathing room to do this, because you've got lots of other things to fit in and around the writing. You are not going to be doing this for 7 hours a day. I don't know any writer who can actually do that. So know that you're going to be doing this in blocks. It's going to take months rather than weeks, and enjoy that. Be okay with that. Know that you have the time. There's no pressure. As yet, you do not have a deadline to publish this book. You don't have the publisher yet. You don't have the pre-order up yet. So you've got some breathing room. But schedule it ahead, schedule in your writing slots, give yourself a deadline, say give yourself 6 months to get the first draft done, and then go from there and see how it goes. But it will be a wonderful, wonderful way to spend your time. You will not only feel that you're doing something more than scrolling social media and watching TV that is just on in the background. You'll be working towards an ambition that you have held for as long as you can remember, a dream. I cannot tell you the number of people who tell me that writing their first novel would mean everything to them. It would be a dream come true. So now take the opportunity, make that dream come true, give yourself that opportunity and take the time to do it. And when you're feeling uninspired, when you're feeling you don't know why you're doing this, it's too hard, pull out that vision that you had for your writing life, whether it's the vision board pinned up on your wall beside your desk, or whether it's in a journal that you have with you. Read it over, remind yourself of what you wanted for this, and I promise you will be emotionally, spiritually, what other word can I think of? You will just be a much more content person if you can spend some time doing the thing that you love. All right, so I hope that's given you a look into how you can have writing as a second career, how it can be so beneficial. Oh, the one thing I didn't say, of course, is who knows, this might also be a second income for you as well. So if you get the book written, you get the book out there, and you find your readers, there is an income to be made as well, and what a boon that would be. So give it some thought, plan ahead, give your vision the time that it deserves, give the project of writing the time that it deserves, give it the respect it needs, and put your writing times in and get it done. And then when you're finished, let me know. I would love to hear how you have gotten on. All right, I will leave you there for now, my lovelies. Take care, and I will see you next time.